Alright, ladies and gentlemen of the YouTube citizens, y'all know who this is. This is your boy Tru Inferno. And I originally had a topic lined up for y'all. I mentioned this this past Friday during my live stream. I was going to talk about virtual reality, but a number of things happened over the past week, over the past few days rather. Therefore, I had to put that topic on hold for next week. Now, let's get on to today's topic, which is a 3-in-1 topic. First and foremost, I want to bring your attention to last week's video when I gave y'all my bracket. I showed you my brackets. It's completely shot with Michigan State losing in the opening weekend. It's pretty much a wrap. I made 2 more brackets, prior to that one. I did one where I had Michigan winning it all, and I can't because of what happened this past weekend. That bracket is shot. And then I had a third one where I had Kansas winning it all. Now, that one's still live, but the problem is I had them defeating Michigan State for the championship. So that one's kind of shot. So, yeah, there you go with that. Now, let's get on to today's topics, which is nothing but sports news. So, the first one I want to talk about is this bastard right here, Dwight Howard. Now, in case you haven't heard, I want to say this happened. I forgot how long ago it was when this happened. It was sometime last week, or this past weekend rather. But Dwight Howard, check this out. He checked into the game after he put some sticky substance in his hands. He checked into the game while Paul Millsap was on the free throw line. I think he made the first free throw or missed. I don't know. I forgot what it was. So Dwight Howard checked into the game. As soon as he stepped in the game, he asked for the ball. He asked for the ball, and he rubbed his hands around the ball, gave it back to the ref, and the ref gave it to Paul Millsap, who was about to shoot his second free throw. And then Millsap, he looked at it like, yo, what the hell is this? Like, it's all sticky. So he gave it back to the ref, and the referees, because there's like 3 of them, 2 of them actually looked at it like, what the heck? And then it come to find out that Stickum was on the basketball. So they had to basically discard that basketball and use another one for the remainder of the game. Meanwhile, while they were looking at the ball and telling both sides, hey, don't use Stickum, it is banned or prohibited or whatever, one of the coaching staffs for the Houston Rockets grabbed both cans, which was on the announce table, and kind of like hid them. So now I'm like, really? Y'all trying to cheat? Now, let me be real with y'all real quick. I'm no because nothing like this ever happened before, because nothing like this were ever needed to come to our attention. There was never a scenario in the NBA where somebody or somebody in the media or somebody who represents the NBA front office or anybody came up to say, you cannot do this with your hands. You can't put that in your hands. And we seen guys water their hands. Not water their hands. We seen guys put chalk in their hands. Jordan used to do it. The LeBron thing, he'll do that. But that's it. And nobody never really made much of a big deal about it. And that, again, because nothing was done to bring our attention to knowing what you can and cannot put on your hands while you're playing a basketball game. So knowing that, when I heard that something sticky was on the basketball, and he talked about something, I've been using it for years, blah, blah, blah. My first 5 years, actually, my first initial thought that came to my mind was, bro, you should have known that. And like I said, I'm no expert, because nothing like this was ever brought to my attention, was brought to the public's attention. But yeah, I have enough common sense to say, you can't put sticky shit on a basketball? What is wrong with you? Because when you put sticky stuff on the basketball and you try to shoot, it's off to the shot, because the ball is going to stick to your hand and it won't release correctly. So I'm like, what do you mean you use it for 5 years? It's no big deal and blah, blah. I'm like, come on, bro. So after hearing about it on First Take, the actual footage is on YouTube. So you can actually look this up. It's called Dwight Howard using Stickum, Stickum, in Atlanta. So it's on YouTube. It's only 1 minute and 34 seconds. And I seen it. And then you can see it all. Where you can see the right putting stick on his hands, but you can see the right checking into the game. Somewhat, you can see him asking for the basketball. You have to look somewhat close and use common sense to say, oh, okay, yeah, he did use that. Paul Millsap's reaction, and then the referee talked about. Then you can clearly see dude taking a cans array from the public view. I mean, it like the signs are there, and then you got the right Howard talk about something. Man, I have a problem with people calling me a cheater. I'm like, gee, I wonder why people are calling you a cheater, because you're using freaking Stickum for apparently for the past 5 years. So yeah, you're gonna be labeled as a cheater. So right now, Houston are currently 7th in the rest, and I hope they miss the playoffs because of crap like this. This makes no freaking sense at all, and I wouldn't say it's a big of a deal because it was caught immediately. Now the league he was not kicked out of the game. The league have not suspended him for this or gave him a fine for this. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say I'm kind of shocked, but because he was caught immediately, basically, I mean, there was no harm here. So, but if, you know, what he said true, so he used it for the past 5 years. Now you got to wonder what the heck's going on here. But at the same time, where has he been doing the past 5 years? I mean, he's been injured. He's been playing with teams that didn't really make much of an impact in the league. I mean, you know, the last 5 years he was rounding out his final one in Orlando. Then he went to LA where Kobe basically dogged him out and he couldn't take it. And then he went to Houston. I mean, he really didn't make much of an impact. Now, it's one thing to say, oh, he won a championship in the past 5 years or two, and then come to find out he used Stickum. Then it's like, okay, now we have an issue here. So, but he haven't really done anything relevant, you know, because of this Stickum crap over the past 5 years. If what he said is true, that he's been using it for the past 5 years. Now, speaking of using something for a number of years and not knowing that there was an issue with it, let's move on from basketball to tennis. Maria Sharapova. Now, recently, she got caught. Well, not caught. She was she failed a drug test because now what happened is here's the scenario. Starting January of 2015, I forgot who this was, the World Tennis Association or somebody like that. I don't know who it was. They released a list of new banned substances that you cannot use, and one of those things is called meldonium. Now, Maria Sharapova had used a drug called maldronate for 10 years to address a number of health issues, including low magnesium levels, and you know, basically low stamina. So, according to her, she received the email. If I remember correctly, it was an email. She received the email talk about some we got a list of things you can't take, and then she didn't click the link to look. And if she would have clicked to look, then she would have noticed that meldonium was on the list. And meldonium is also known as maldronate, which is what she's been using for 10 years. So she went a whole year using this stuff, and this year she got caught. So now she got to be banned, and she already losing sponsors. And then this the tripped out part though, because despite the fact that Serena Williams had basically dominated her in the past 17, 18 matchups, I mean, this is one-sided domination here that Maria Sharapova took at the hands of the greatest, not only just the greatest female tennis player in the world, but we talk about arguably the greatest of all time here. And despite that, Maria's still making more money off endorsement than Serena up until this point. And a lot of people are wondering, how in the heck is that possible? That makes no freaking sense. So, but yet, that should change that. Because, I mean, let's be real. If this was Serena Williams who got caught doing something like this, oh, man, the media would be all over her. Because there's some people in the media that don't like her. Because of how she carries herself, how she looks, her physique, the fact that she's too dominant, and blah, blah, blah. So if she did something like this, then yeah, they would be all over her. So now, as far as what punishment awaits Maria Sharapova, Now, the rule is if you got caught doing something like this is 4 years, a 4-year ban. And if they're nice, a 2-year ban. And I'm like, wow. So don't expect to see Maria Sharapova for a number of years. You know, she's only 28. I mean, she could come back at 32 and still go. You know, as long as, you know, and hope that Serena retires or something at that point. But yeah, there you go with that. That's just crazy. And then again, she used the whole, you know, she didn't know line. I'm like, come on, you had to click the email. I mean, that's something very important. Like, if they say you can't use something and there's a possibility that the type of drug you're taking is on the, you should check. So, I mean, either that was stupid on her part not to check, or she's lying and she did check, but she still took it anyway. So that's how I see that. Now, the third bit of news, I'm going to get to this real quick. LeBron James unfollowed the Cleveland Cavaliers off of Twitter. Everybody making a big deal about it. And I'm like, bro, you could just not check your Twitter. Like, if you're trying to get into player mode, you could just not check your Twitter. You could deactivate your Twitter. You can do a number of things where that does involve social media outside from blocking one account or unfollowing one account. And I'm looking at that as he's leaving Cleveland. So, yeah, there you go. So, yeah, he's leaving Cleveland because of that. I'm looking at it as that, man. I don't care what people say, oh, man, don't blow this up. But at the same time, it makes no damn sense. Why would you unfollow Cleveland? Like I said, you could just deactivate your Twitter. You could, I don't know, just not get on Twitter. I mean, that's an option. Because, yeah, he have a lot of followers, but how many people do he follow? 100 something? Really? That's it? Like, I follow 800 something. And I check my Twitter daily. So, I mean, if you don't want to check out what people are saying about you, don't get on Twitter. Deactivate it. Whatever. But don't just unfollow your team and say, oh, yeah, you know, I'm being played. No, that means he's leaving Cleveland if they don't win a championship. Basically, he's leaving Cleveland because they're not winning a championship this year. So, yeah, there you go with that, man. So, as you can see, the game been over. And there you go with that, man. Y'all know who this is. This is the new Jay Gatsby, a.k.a. Gene Ryan II, saying peace out, y'all. And see y'all next time. Yeah.